Meghan Markle has just become the Temu Victoria Beckham. And guess what? She's furious, raging, totally overwhelmed with jealousy by the success of Victoria's Netflix reality series, which has gone to the top of the charts and had huge amounts of promotional money pumped in by Netflix. Everything they didn't do with Love Meghan, because they knew they were not only dealing with a massive flop, but they were dealing with an inauthentic protagonist who wasn't opening up and revealing the truth about her life. Now, of course, the feud between Meghan Markle and Victoria Beckham dates back some years. It dates back to Meghan's time within the royal family, when Victoria had very graciously offered to help Meghan with her fashion and her clothes and sort of finding the right people who could help her out in London. And let's be honest, she needed the help. You know, Meghan needed the help. She's not up there when it comes to fashion and beauty. But then when that was leaked to the tabloids, Meghan immediately blamed Victoria. She even forced Prince Harry to cut David Beckham off, even though he had travelled to Australia with two of his sons for the Invictus Games. So a massive feud has ensued for some time. The Beckhams have, of course, very much aligned themselves with the British royal family, both William and Catherine, and now King Charles and Camilla. Meanwhile, Meghan's simmering obsession has just got weirder. And we've seen it all week in New York City and in Washington, D.C. Whereas, according to Taz pointed out, comparing and contrasting a whole load of these outfits and moments on social media, it's like a scary Temu Victoria Beckham. You just know she's watched every episode of Victoria's Netflix shows. All the latest photos in New York are her with her hand in her pocket, big sunglasses, trying not to smile. Beckham has a stalker now. And Rebuilude's source added, sadly, I need to add to this trend. Victoria, photographed at her Netflix documentary release party on the 10th of October, Mrs. Sussex photographed today. I mean, come on, that's unmistakable. It is completely unmistakable. And P-Dina, as Victoria Beckham secures the cover of Hello magazine solo this week, as she is right up there on the international charts of Netflix, something Meghan never achieved on her own with Love Meghan. There is a simmering rage coming from Montecito at the fact that Victoria can make it in her own right, yet she can't.
You know what is hitting Meghan in the face right now is the fact that Victoria has, like you said, she's made it on her own. She was successful in the girl band, and now she has worked really hard to get success in the fashion world. And Meghan will always be known as someone who married into the royal family. That is where her success stops and ends. She has no independent success with anything that she has done outside of her connection to the royal family. And that infuriates Meghan. And I have to give it off to Victoria because she has earned my respect, something Meghan will never get, because Meghan wants to always be the victim. She doesn't want to show herself as someone who has learned anything. But Victoria, she talks about her failures. She talks about the struggles she has had. We're in her home. We are behind the scenes of her business. We don't see all the good, pretty things. We see the ugly and hard to accept things as well. That is where you get respect from people, when you show the things that don't really necessarily put you in a good light. You earn respect that way because you're vulnerable. People can relate to you. Meghan doesn't want people to see what we all know is happening. She's failed. She doesn't want to talk about her failures. She doesn't want to talk about how, she went wrong here. She wants to blame and accuse people to make herself appear like the victim to get sympathy. And you can't get sympathy from being a victim and being somebody who has problems because they beat up on you, whatever. We don't care. How do you deal with it? How do you deal with when things don't happen in the way you had envisioned them to happen? Meghan can't bring herself to do it, but Victoria can. And she herself said in her documentary how she had to earn the respect. She had to make the mistakes and be told that is a mistake, not being told what you want to hear as a powerful person. She went there with people, and that's why she has people's respect. And Meghan will never get respect because, like I said, her success ends with who she married, and that is it. It goes no further than you married a prince. Anything outside of that marriage is a failure, Meghan, and she can't accept it. That's the problem with Meghan.
She can't. And what's so interesting about Victoria's series, P-Dina, is that it's exactly what Meghan Markle should have done. And I think that's what's going to be so galling for her. If Meghan had actually been really genuine and invited the cameras in and truly shown them how she launched this business as ever, and we saw the disasters, the bad moments, and there was a sense of jeopardy. And you certainly get that in the Victoria Beckham documentary, for example, when she's hosting this Paris Fashion Week show and everything starts to go wrong and it's pouring down with rain and a model's been injured. You know, you see that sense of jeopardy. You even see the tension between her and David at times. And she was prepared to open up. I mean, with her series, P-Dina, we're actually in her home. You know,
Right.
we're seeing her children. It is truly authentic. And I say this as someone that's had my issues with the Beckhams in the past, but this was absolutely what Meghan Markle should have done. Because compared to this Victoria Beckham series, Meghan's With Love looks like a piece of propaganda. We know we're not
Yeah.
seeing the real Meghan because we're not even seeing her real home. And I think people now do want that authenticity. So Victoria put it all on the line. And also, she was risking quite a lot. You know, she admitted how difficult it was when David Beckham was bankrolling her business. Well, we know Meghan would never do that. She's never been prepared to admit that, let's be honest, she's launched as ever on Prince Harry's money and his inheritance from the damn late
Exactly.
Queen Mother. She's not prepared to admit that. She admitted
Yeah.
that she's had an eating disorder and that she's had huge issues in terms of her public perception and how she's viewed and how she was a laughing stock. Meghan Markle, not prepared to do that. We saw it this week in the interview on stage at Washington, D.C. In Meghan's
And,
world, everything's hunky-dory. Can you believe that more than half of you are watching this video but not subscribed? So please do me a huge favor. Click the subscribe button now. Turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to all of our brand new Outspoken videos.
right. And also I think when she had the fashion show and it was raining, how I would have been beside myself, just crazy upset and just like it's all going wrong. But how Victoria managed in real time, you got to see how she was dealing with her staff. You got to see how she dealt with something that was completely out of her control, but she was very calm and cared about her models and had this very soft-spoken strength about her that is the complete opposite of what we've heard with Meghan and her stories of bullying her staff and losing it and throwing things at people. Victoria just really stepped up and showed you how even in a very difficult situation, she was able to manage that with control and strength in her calmness, something that Meghan has not been able to do with all the stories about her being a bully towards her own staff. I really admired that about Victoria.
Yeah, totally. But again, that is the problem, isn't it, P-Dina? To let the cameras in to that degree, you
Right.
actually have to be comfortable with who you are. And you've got to be comfortable with the way that you behave. And we know from the litany of press reports about Meghan Markle's bullying of her staff that she simply wouldn't allow the cameras in. She can't show the world the real person because the real person is a monster. And it's not me just saying that. You know, we have categorical evidence now with bullying complaint after bullying complaint, with person after person who worked for her and gave their life to her, ending up either mentally damaged And in some cases, P-Dina actually ending up in rehab, with serious psychological scars because of their time working for her. And that's not to say Victoria Beckham is an angel. I mean, obviously, when you're running a business like that, it's clear that she was putting pressure on her staff and they were working long hours, but they were working towards a common goal. And so I just think it would be impossible for Meghan to truly open it up. And the problem is, what she tried to do with her Netflix show as a result of all of the bad publicity from her genuinely bad behavior was use it as a propaganda tool. And that was just so obvious. We could see through that. So do you remember, P-Dina, all of like the cosplaying with the crew members? Oh, I'm going to give you a chicken wing, because I'm going to show that I'm really lovely to my staff. There was nothing genuine about that at all. And again, to me, where Victoria really got this right was being prepared to show some of the dark stuff. But with Meghan Markle, the dark stuff is so dark and she's still mired in it all. I don't think she ever can go there. And I think it's why every single project has failed, actually. Every single project has failed because what we've never actually got is the real Meghan. Because Meghan knows the real Meghan would expose her to the world.
And that's why I think Netflix didn't promote her show as much. They promoted Victoria's show
so
because
much.
they saw what she was giving up on her show. She was making some really good television. And to make good television, you have to go to those uncomfortable places because people want to see what it's really like. And Meghan didn't want to go there. And this is why Netflix did not promote her show. She didn't get really the true backing of Netflix because everything that Netflix had suggested to Meghan, she didn't want to do. She didn't want to do the things that Netflix knew was going to get her a really good show. And because she did what she wanted to do, she kept things pretty. She censored a lot, propaganda, pretty world, no problems. Look at me and listen to my happy music. Boring, boring, Meghan Markle. You got to go where Victoria went. And I'm telling you right now, Victoria went to places that made her in her gut not feel good. But she had to show the cameras during those times to make the show. Otherwise, why even do it? Why go through all this if you're not going to really show what it's really like? This is Meghan's failure. She doesn't listen to the people that know. She wants to do what she wants to do. And what you want to do, Meghan, is just boring. You are a drip, girl. Get
So
on
true.
with it.
So true. So true. One day, though, we probably will get the full reality series because there's going to be nothing left. That's the problem. It's the only thing that people actually want. And it will be Kardashian style and it will pimp out the children. And we're probably going to get there. And eventually Meghan will have to say, Harry, you're going to do this. And P-Dina, that actually brings me to Prince Harry because there's been a real debate this week between people who follow the Sussexes about whether Harry actually has to take a lot of responsibility for what has happened, especially over the past few months, and how he constantly stays silent. And a lot of it was sparked by the picture that Meghan actually featured of Prince Harry in her Instagram video, where he's standing there and he's in his track pants around all of her diva-like stuff, and he's smiling. And it's the first indication to some people that, oh my God, actually, maybe you are endorsing her behind the scenes. Like, to us, we're seeing how miserable you are and how unhappy you are. And we're speaking to your friends who say you're unhappy, you're miserable. Even the Daily Mail's Alison Boshoff this week, P-Dina reporting bombshell details about how bad things really are between the couple. So we know that. We know he's desperately unhappy, but maybe behind the scenes, and maybe it has been because he's been gaslit and, bullied and everything for such a long time, but behind the scenes, P-Dina, he seems to in some way be enabling this behavior. Every day, we're not just consuming news, we're being conditioned by it. Headlines aren't written to inform, they're engineered to provoke outrage, shape loyalties, and drive clicks. What's sold as reporting is too often a carefully packaged narrative crafted to steer the way we see the world. It's not just the journalists. Behind them are corporate owners, political operatives, and algorithms deciding which stories dominate the conversation and which ones vanish without a trace. The result? A public that's divided, misled, and increasingly skeptical of what truth even means. But there is a way to break free from the spin. Ground News brings together headlines from over 50,000 sources across the globe. But what really makes it powerful is the transparency. You don't just see the stories, you see the political bias behind every source, the ownership ties, and the coverage breakdown across the spectrum. That's why over 1 million people have downloaded Ground News. Even the Nobel Peace Center praised it as an excellent way to stay informed, avoid echo chambers, and expand your worldview. And you can see for yourself at ground.news/outspoken. Now, my favorite feature is the blind spot feed. It shows you which stories are blowing up on one side of the aisle, but barely mentioned on the other. It's the clearest way to see media bias in action. So let's look at a recent story that the left is ignoring. Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman accused Democrats they have forgotten why we lost in 2024, urging the party to avoid a government shutdown that would harm Americans. The right frames this as a rebuke of his own party, as Fetterman has broken with progressives on numerous issues, including on Israel, and in not referring to Trump as an autocrat. On the other side, the right is mostly ignoring that Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney has paused a 2026 electric vehicle mandate and announced a new Buy Canadian policy as it adjusts to US tariffs. The left frames Carney's decision as a betrayal of climate initiatives while simultaneously applauding his focus on affordability. With every story, Ground News shows you the entire spectrum of who's reporting from left, from right, from the centre, how reliable each source is, and who owns each outlet. It's everything the corporate press doesn't want you to see. And right now, you can get 40% off the Vantage plan, which gives you unlimited access to all the features I personally use for less than a cup of coffee. Just visit ground.news/outspoken, click the link in the description box below, or scan the QR code on screen. That's ground.news/outspoken. But now, back to the show.
I'm really confused by it. Is this really Harry? Because he's always in the background blurry. That's what I'm seeing. I don't know what that is, but I just know it's a different message than what we see when they're out. I think maybe Harry has been caught in a moment, or maybe she told him, "Hey, put a smile on your face. Let me post this." I just know that they're not in a good spot. The reality is, from the things we've seen them do, what Meghan has done. Look, Harry's not happy. We see that he wants to go back. Okay, maybe he's had a moment, a glimpse of putting a smile on his face, but that's not his truth and reality in his current situation. But Megan wants to try to show that to counter it, to confuse people. We're not confused. I know that people can have different emotions and okay, but that is not the reality of their situation with Megan and Harry. No way. I don't believe it at all.
No, absolutely not. But Milano posted, this traitor, speaking of the picture of Harry, is 100% behind his cretinous wife. Look at his smile, his ease, his my conscience is clear attitude. Don't feel sorry for this piece of shit. He supports her insane Paris at night Insta post, her sociopathic obsession with Her Royal Highness, the Princess of Wales. He is in on it all. But it's not quite as clear cut as that, because Kate Hutton, she actually was in the audience for Harry's event on Friday. And on Tom Sykes' Substack page, this was how she recounted what happened. I went to the World Mental Health Festival to see Harry and Meghan speak on Friday. I had hoped they would be on a panel, but each got up and read a 2-minute speech from a teleprompter to kick off a session each. Harry went first, and he just looked sad, anxious, and tired. He obviously hates speaking in front of a crowd and being made to be a performing monkey. You got the impression his life had taken a wrong turn, and instead of playing polo with his schoolmates, he's in some soulless conference room whilst earnest Americans go on. It felt so bleak. No crowds outside to greet them, and very businesslike between the two of them. Was so interesting to see them in person. And I thought that analysis, P-Dina, was pretty spot on.
Mhm. Yeah. So it's a business relationship. I mean, we've seen Harry leave and Meghan at certain times alone, not together, right? So I think it is a business transaction. They are doing certain things that they have to do for the sake of earning money, but that does not speak to the reality of this marriage and their current circumstances because they are losing money. They don't really have money coming in the way that they need. We know Harry wants to go back to the UK. So I find that, Megan's going to do whatever she can when she's behind the scenes telling Harry, look, you got to put a smile on your face, whatever, because she needs to get certain shots to tell a different narrative to paint those pretty pictures because we know that's what she likes to do. So you look at Megan's behavior and you understand what she's about, but we understand human behavior. And we know that Harry is in a predicament with Meghan right now because they are in contrast to their purpose, what they want. And I just don't buy it at all that things are going great for the marriage. Just by the talk of what Meghan was saying and her wanting to be independent and trying to make her own money and not talking about the relationship and the business around Archwell, like the charity work, right? Like Meghan is the kind of person that wants to be in control, independent from Harry. So she's got something over Harry where, she can get him to dance like a monkey if she needs to. That's what she's doing because she uses social media to counter narratives of things that we know to be, the truth. And Megan's not fooling anybody with what she's doing. We are on to her, and time will certainly tell we were right all along. That's how I see it, Dan.
P-Dina, I wanted to ask you too about Meghan and Gloria Steinem because she posted her as part of the Instagram video, and then there were also paparazzi stationed outside the house. Meghan's mole wrote, Meghan Markle trying to love bomb 91-year-old Gloria, thinking she might get written into her will, while ignoring her own father who paid for Meghan's entire existence until she became a royal beggar and dumped him. I wonder how Gloria's family feel about Meghan's love bombing. What certainly seemed obvious to me, P-Dina, is she wanted this to be public. She wanted people to know.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's what Megan does. She uses her social media to counter the narrative or to show people things that give her a little bit of clout or, I guess, power behind all the things that Gloria has done. But I think Megan is just trying to stay afloat of all the negativity that is around her. It's swallowing her up, and this is the only way she can try to have some control is to be able to post these things to counter what people are actually saying and to use people. And this is why a lot of celebrities won't take photos with Megan because they know Megan will use it to up her profile. It will go on social media. I mean, Gloria is an older woman now. She's done all the things that she's done, and Megan can't really kind of do the things that she's trying to do with Gloria. Her legacy and career is pretty much at an end. But most people know that you can't take photos with her because that's how she'll use it. That's how people see it. I don't think that Gloria really wanted to be used this way. She probably likes Megan, but we know behind Megan, she's using Gloria because if you really were loving and caring, like you want us to believe in this social media post, we would see you have these kinds of relationships with other people, like your family, your father. You don't know this woman, this Gloria woman. She's let you into her life, and you're just kind of piggybacking off of her career to make it look like you're a nice person to an older woman. And we know that you're not. So that's why she posts it. It's not for the true reasons that probably Gloria's feeling, right? I think Megan is just a user. She uses people, and people like us, we see it. And a lot of other people that you don't see taking pictures with Megan see it. That's why they'll never take photos with her. Megan has
Totally.
exposed herself. We know
Totally.
who she is, where she's coming from.
But she made sure, for example, that Ed Sheeran was included within the reel, even though it was the back of him. But again, the paparazzi were there, weren't they, P-Dina? And
Mhm.
this to me just felt really tragic, actually. It's like, oh, what? So you've got to try and enhance yourself by hooking up with Ed Sheeran, and then you have to do it at Soho House, which feels so regressive in so many ways. It's like, oh my God, like you really have come full circle, but not in the way that you think you have, because you've come full circle because you're back to hanging out at Soho House and briefing the paparazzi to be outside Soho House to get you coming in and to get your celebrity friends coming in. P-Dina, that's what she was doing when she was looking for her man back in London. I mean, it's quite
Right.
tragic. Just go out with one of your mates who happens to be a celebrity without briefing the damn paparazzi and having to go to Soho House to do it.
Right, and there was, I think something that came out, about Ed saying that he was not there even having dinner with Meghan.
Well, I think he's
So
briefing that because
yeah,
it's not good for him. It's
right.
not good for him to be connected to these two. And he will be furious
Mhm.
about the fact that he's been caught up in this. I mean, was it a coincidence? I don't know. I think they probably were meeting up because Meghan even included him in the reel. But if it was just a chance meeting, it makes it obviously even more desperate on Meghan's part.
Absolutely, because that's what Megan does. She is such a fraud when it comes to all the pictures and things that she posts because she uses it as propaganda. And I think there's things about her pictures and the things that she does that just look suspect to me. I don't take it at face value at all because we know she's using it in a way to control a narrative. She's trying to change things up. That's why she calls the paps out to take photos of her. She is trying to use it to create her pretty pictures. She's not even in reality herself when she goes out. The girl is living in an alternate universe as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, people are on to her. Megan is not fooling everybody. She's just exposing herself. The more she does this, the more she is exposed. And I think now Ed knows something is up with this woman. You know, why was this the article story when that's not what happened? People are on to Megan. She's really failing as much as she thinks she's succeeding. She's not. She's failing constantly. And it's going to catch up with her eventually.
Well, of course, because Ed Sheeran, who is friends with a lot of the most influential people in the world, P-Dina, knows full well that he can go out for dinner with Taylor Swift, or he can go out for dinner with the princesses Beatrice and Eugenie
Hmm.
without being photographed,
That's right.
without it being leaked to People magazine. Like,
Hmm.
this is why you shouldn't get caught up in their world. Honestly, Ed Sheeran, I know you had a relationship with Harry back in the day, but you're being used, mate. You're being used, and it's not good for you.
Yeah. He sees it and a lot of other celebrities see it, and that's why I think her circle has gotten so much smaller because people just do not wanna get caught up in the drama. I think even Gwyneth at this point is a little sorry about what she did with Meghan. Yeah, some people are gonna learn the hard way. You get caught up with Meghan, you're gonna become a story. You're gonna become a big, part of Meghan's narrative, and I'm sure they don't want that. They wanna live on their own legacy and talents and what they have going, not on the casual, relationship that you have with Megan walking by or being caught up in a photo with her. That is not good. And I think that's how we'll see her future. Less and less people will become involved with her. I mean, look, she was able to get Chrissy Teigen for her Netflix. I mean, really, the woman who has bullied people, that's your go-to? Right, because the other people that are credible and A-listers don't want nothing to do with her. She's telling us how horrible her world is by who she's able to get to show up for her show. I mean, if you bringing Chrissy on and she's the one that has had these allegations around, or actually these texts, very inappropriate texts around children, that's the go-to for your show. It's really bad for you, Megan, if that's where your go-to is. So we're seeing it happen. People are slowly getting it.
So true. P-Dina, brilliant analysis as ever. There's that as ever term again. I didn't do that on purpose, I promise. And of course, you should sign up and subscribe to P-Dina's brilliant YouTube channel for so much more royal analysis. But I love having you as part of Outspoken, P-Dina. Always. Thank you so much. And if you do want first access to our Royal Uncancelled after show here on Outspoken every single weekday, you can watch it either live or on demand, whichever you prefer, with no advertising whatsoever, twice the length of what you've just watched. Then do sign up to my Substack. www.outspoken.live is the address. Substack is such an important community for me. It's all about free speech. It's all about being protected, actually, and not having to worry about big tech cancellation. That's why it means the world for me. To me, if you were part of our community there, www.outspoken.live. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.